So let me show you guys another resource I personally found really useful. So first of all, I'm going to introduce Anki. I think a lot of you guys already have heard of Anki in college. It's a flashcard program where you can make flashcards on the computer and then you can transfer them to your iPhone or Android device so you can review them on the fly. So let me double click Anki. I already had it pulled up. And let's make a new deck. So a deck is basically a deck of cards, flashcards that you study. So let's make a new deck, and let's say this is called my QBank deck. Great. So now let me talk to you about how I use this in conjunction with my QBanks. So there are three major QBanks. There's UWorld, USMLE-RX, and Kaplan. So in my opinion, in everyone's opinion, UWorld is the best, but those questions are pretty precious. So I usually want to save those. I save those until spring break, and that's when I started using it, and I kind of have already gathered a good amount of knowledge. But otherwise, for the rest of my year, I kind of use RX to study the questions of each block to kind of give me a little bit more comfortable with board questions. So this is what RX looks like, and I have the QBank right here. So let's create a new test. It's going to be the same layout as RX as it is for Kaplan. So Kaplan is given to you guys for free at MCW. And let's make it a tutor mode. So tutor mode just means that there is no time restrictions and they give you the answer right away. And let's say I'm going to use all items because I've already finished this QBank. And let's give us medium questions because why not? And then this is what you guys can use a lot is organ systems right here. Let's say your first block is musculoskeletal and the second block, so right there, you only want to practice musculoskeletal questions. This is a great way to quiz yourself during the musculoskeletal block. And let's go to cardio. So I only want to ask myself cardio questions. And then let's say I want to ask how many questions. Let's do 5. This is just a little feature of UWorld of RX where you can name it. So I'll call it cardio practice. Great. So let's create this test. I'm going to start it. And so then I get this question. Okay. Patient with atrial fib, started on a drug, failing first-line therapies, physicians careful to monitor adverse effects. The diagram issues the cardiac potential. During which phase does this drug have the most clinical effect? So you guys are probably gunnering and reading this already. So the trick that I want to show you guys is how to screenshot these questions and then make little flashcards with it. So the program I use is OneNote. So OneNote lets me actually screenshot. So I can just click the screen clipping and then it's kind of grayed out. So then I can clip the entire question. And then here now in my QBank, let me add a new card where right here now on the front of my card is my question. I know the answer to this question is amiodarone. That's the drug they're getting at. So I think that was K blocker, so phase 2. Oops, phase 3, amiodarone. So then this is the correct explanation and they give you the answer. And they show all the explanations. So then you can see right here, the correct answer is D. So what I do is with this really long-winded explanation, what I can do then is I can take this OneNote again, screen clip the answer and the explanation, and then I put it in the back. And then I can maybe as a tag put this as cardio. Add. Great. So now I have a new card in my deck. So when I want to study on the go or at home and I feel like, wow, this question I learned a lot, then I can study now and just see this question and see the patient with atrial fib, which drug does this have? And I can do the whole Anki thing. It's a great system where you could say show answer, and then you can respond how well you know the question. Do you know it easily? Or sorry, do you know it very easily? So it'll not remind you of this question for another 4 days, 10 minutes, or 1 minute. And then right here, it'll have the question, and then it'll have the answer and the explanations. And so this was something I did with only like high yield questions that I found like I learned a lot and I did not want to forget what I learned from that. And I would try to limit how many cards I was allowed to make per practice test. But hopefully that becomes a tool that you guys can find really useful. So the screenshot program I used OneNote. It's free for Windows. For Mac, the equivalent option would be Command Shift 4. And I believe that's how you get a screenshot of just a section of your screen like that. So hopefully this guide was useful and Thanks for watching.